Live from studios in South Hall on the beautiful campus of Jacksonville State University, it's the Hey Techies Show. Now, here are your hosts in chairs that should have been thrown out years ago, Michael and Bruce.
Welcome into the Hey Techies Show. So glad to have everybody in tonight, and so great to be back. I feel like it's been forever.
It's been forever. It's only been, 2 weeks?
Yeah, well, it just feels like forever.
It does.
And, of course, tonight there is no Bruce.
I know. How are we going to get through the show without Bruce?
I don't have a clue.
I don't know if I can handle it.
Yeah. Well, everything has been happening this week that could be. And, of course, while we were gone, Apple had their hour or so long event, which was, had a few things going on in it.
Yeah,
we're trying to adjust.
Yeah, we get thrown in the studio every week.
Yeah, and we complain about that.
But
every week.
What I was going to say about the Apple event, I was very disconnected during the Apple event. So I got back to where I had internet, and I saw what you put on our Facebook page.
Right.
So if you're not following the Facebook page, you're missing out, because Michael put a very good, thorough review outline, whatever you want to call it, of the Apple event. So thank you very much, Michael, for doing that.
Yeah, it took a while to put it together, actually. So
we're gonna start calling you the Apple Juicer.
I just listened and wrote down. So anyway, well, look, you know what this is, and this is the Hey Techies Show, where we cover tech news, and we like to take your calls at 256-782-5600. But coming up tonight, here in just a few minutes, we have a great guest tonight. It is the entire robotics team of White Plains.
Yeah, I'm so excited they're here in studio.
Yes,
and in studio,
and their teacher as well, Mr. Beauchamp. And we're going to be talking to them, and maybe you want to call in a question later.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe so. Yeah, we'll be glad to put you on and have a question.
But you can send us questions to email, Facebook, Twitter. Just go to our website, heytechiesshow.com. Everything's there. The link, there's a form you can fill out if you don't want to send us an email. You can go to our Facebook page or send us a tweet. I've got all that stuff pulled up on my laptop, so hopefully I can keep up. Also, we're live streaming through YouTube.
Yes.
So if you go to heytechiesshow.com/live, you can watch us live. There's also a chat room there, which I need to pull up. So a lot of ways to get in touch with us.
That's right. And so, as we said, there's so much going on. I mean, tech is going crazy. Of course, many people know that they did get in that phone, Farouk's phone, that Apple said they would not spend their own personal capital, I guess you could say, of, people's belief in their ability to make a phone that's not penetrable. But, of course, they were able to get into it. And we'll probably get into the second hour maybe. About a lot of people have written a lot of things, been some interesting stuff about it.
Right.
I've read a lot. I've tried to study up on it a little bit, and I've got my own views about it. I think that we do know how they actually got in the phone. A lot of people are saying they don't.
Hey, I got the answer. We don't have to wait till the second hour. They called the NSA.
They did? Oh.
Somebody at the FBI
sure?
said, let's call the NSA up. I think they got this figured out.
Actually, I think they called John McAfee.
No.
Yes, there's a report.
You know how I feel about what he
Guru,
said.
There is a report out right now. There is a news story out that he knows how they got into it.
You found it on the internet, so it has to be true,
no,
right?
I think this is right.
We'll see. We'll see.
I think it is right.
We'll see.
And did you see? There's this crazy. Did you know there was an airplane hijack just recently? Did you see all that going on?
Yes.
Did you know one of the cats on there snapped a selfie?
I saw that. Snapped I know. I saw that the other day. I was like, really?
And the excuse is now. What was the excuse? The excuse is he wanted to get close enough to look at the bomb just to see.
Oh.
That's one of the. He said he really didn't know why he did it, except maybe that's why he did it.
You need to file that under the dumb criminals.
No
because
kidding.
To allow yourself to be taken in a selfie. I mean, the dude was wearing his so-called belt bomb, which was not real, but still. I mean, it's just like plain as day. Like, dude.
Yeah,
America's or the world's dumbest criminals.
You know what's funny? I think it was either one of the flight attendants or maybe actually, it had to be a flight attendant, I think, took the picture.
Oh my goodness!
But I guess when somebody's got a bomb strapped to them, you do whatever they look like they want done. So right?
take my selfie.
Right
now.
Yeah, anyway, but there's that going on, and of course we have Build 2016 going on. Microsoft has right now going. Lots have broken about that. We got HoloLens that they said they shipped the developers kits today. Some of them, and iFixit already broke the thing down.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I think iFixit has every tool that's ever been made. They've got to.
Absolutely.
They get it one day, and in 35 seconds, they have this thing broke apart, and we know. It's like it's a snap together kit.
They must have gotten the Hey Techies credit card. That's all I got to say.
You know what they said?
Because how much money are they spending?
I don't know. You know what they did say?
What'd they say?
They said that you need a flathead or a screwdriver, and then another little tool, and that's how you get it open. I mean, you're kidding me. They broke it down with like a screwdriver.
Wow.
That's hard to believe, too.
Amazing.
So. Well, look, we're going to cut to our break. We're going to go a little early. We're going to get the our guest in here, the robotics team from Wide Plains, and we're going to be right back. The Hey Techies Show. Do not go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere. There's more in the queue lined up just for you.
Stress of Jacksonville has been serving the Jacksonville community for over a decade. They are located at 500 Forney Avenue, right next to the cockpit. Strutt serves wings, beer, and more. Their business hours are Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. To place a to-go order, please call 256-782-0106. For more information, go to struttswings.com.
Looking to cure that sweet tooth of yours? Mad Hatter Cupcake Shop is now proudly serving the Jacksonville area at their new location at 16 Public Square on the Square. Mad Hatter is open Tuesday through Saturday from 11 to 9 p.m. and they are closed on Sunday and Monday. For additional information, be sure to check out their Facebook page, www.facebook.com/Mad Hat Cupcakes, and their website, www.madhatcakes.com.
Red Threads Apparel carries a wide selection of t-shirt designs for every school function, work party, and much more. They also offer custom layouts for monogrammed attire. Red Threads Apparel is located at 16 Square Unit 8 in downtown Jacksonville on the Square. Their business hours are Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. For more information on Red Threads powered by O-Brand, visit their Facebook page at O-Brand Marketing or call 256-770-9880. Cindy's Photography and Fine Arts is available for all your photography needs. She covers weddings, senior portraits, and much more. Cindy is a proud alumnus of Jacksonville State University and is licensed and insured for over 35 years. Cindy's Photography is located at 1765 Broadwell Mill Road in Jacksonville, Alabama. To book a session or for more information, call 256-435-4752.
Welcome back to the Hey Techies Show. If you're wondering, Guru picked out the music.
Yes, I did. Never know what I'm going to pick.
You'll have to stick around to the second hour. It's off the chain, as they say, as kids say. Well, look, we have several guests with us tonight, and I am very excited tonight to have all of you, and I appreciate it so much. I got with Bo. Actually, how it worked out, Mr. Shaw, spin that mic over just for real quick, and I promise I'll be nice.
All right.
Great. So how it actually went is we saw your article in Anniston Star, and I told my wife, said, you need to try to get them on. You should. So I looked you up on the White Plains directory.
Yeah.
And sent you an email, and we conversed back and forth, and you said, yeah, let's do it. So I'm so glad to have you guys on. And so here we have Mr. Bo Shaw. He is the teacher. And I guess your representative, I guess, is what do they consider you on the team? The coach?
I guess I would be the coach, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. All right. And then we have Chase, correct? Yeah. And then we have Alexis. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see all these fine ladies and Mr. Shaw and Rebecca. And I believe we have Rebecca on the end.
I'm down here.
Okay. So I got the first question. Either one of you can pop up an answer. Okay, please do. All of you have been selected now as one of 2 teams from Calhoun County to go out to national Worlds, and of course, just 7 from our state, which is happening next month, right? And so, at what point in the year did you guys think, hey, we can really do this? We can win? Was it right away?
Take it, Chase.
Well, I guess at first we were kind of like, okay, we want to get away from the boys, and we started a girls' team. And we got really excited about that, and we're like, man, we're really behind because everybody else had their robots for so long. And we're like, man, we're struggling. And then we finally started getting it, and it was like hitting that sweet spot, and we were winning and stuff. And we were like, man, we got a chance now. And we have an awesome notebook, too, that Alexis works on, which helped us out, too.
Okay, well, so Alexis is good at writing, huh?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, that's good. Now, how about, speaking of the robot, and we'll get to that in just a minute. We're going to get into some specifics. But as far as how many events, I think I read y'all have had 10 events. Is that 10 contests? Does that sound about right?
10.
Yeah,
Okay.
Around 10 altogether as when we were a part of the boys team, but only 4 as an all-girls team.
Oh, okay. So tell me about that. So you started out part of the year and said, we're going to be on the boys team, or we're going to be together. And then you said, well, we'll split off. So how did that start off?
We got tired of the boys.
They wouldn't listen to us, so we were
Those
like, "See you
boys just
later."
causing problems.
Oh, I tell you right now. So the girls banded together and decided, hey, we're going to take it to the worlds. I keep saying nationals. You want to say nationals? It's world.
Internationals.
Internationals. That's right.
There you go.
And Mr. Bo was telling me beforehand that there's 500 teams. You looked at that they're going to be there.
Yeah, usually they take about 450 teams from around the world, and I wanted to check my facts before we came in this evening.
Yeah.
And there was 500 high school teams, and usually they divide those up about through 4 divisions. I think they might do 5 this year, so about 100 robots per division.
Okay.
So,
Wow, that's a
it's
lot
crazy.
of
Yeah,
teams.
I've heard and tried to research. There's going to be about 15,000 kids. 26 countries will be represented, so it's going to be crazy. We're really excited to just be a part of it this year. So
Okay. So the robot, you get a box of stuff. Do you plan it out? Do you think it out? What? How does that work? How do you start it off?
We kind of have to draw it out and sketch it out before we actually solidify any.
And before we even
actual-
start drawing, we all have a meeting and talk about what we need to do and what the object of the robot needs to be.
Kind of plan out what the game plan is going to be for the robot.
Right. But I guess, okay, that's great. Excellent. But once you get that, is everybody have the same product that they have to build it from, or can you build it from any kind of, do you get, because for instance, real quick, we covered the best robotics competition, okay, and they get basically a box of stuff. They can use, of course they can use other stuff, but they have to use the specific stuff. So that's what I'm getting at. Do you have something that you specifically have to use to build your robot?
Vex, actually, they'll send us or we'll order different parts
Okay.
for it. We can use what tools we need to and go out and buy those. But, like, whatever's on the robot has to be Vex approved, and we have to buy it from their website. And if it's not from their website, we can go to Lowe's. But it has to be, like, a very specific, like, certain width of string. It has to be braided this way. It's just very, very specific.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, how long did it take to build a robot that you're going to be able to use to go on?
About a month and a half.
I think it's still kind of ongoing. So we have some things we have to do to it before we go
Okay.
to Kentucky. But
Yeah. Okay. So you've had to make some changes over the year.
Definitely.
So did you have some problems early on? Can you tell a little bit about some of the problems maybe? And I mean, I don't want to give away anything that your strategy or anything, but maybe tell us about some of the issues you had.
Okay.
They're afraid of the microphone, apparently.
It will not bite, I promise.
No.
Well, our robot, we decided instead of just shooting, because, that's one of our goals is you're trying to get a ball into a high goal. And you get an extra bonus points if you can lift another robot. So we're like, we haven't seen any lift bots. So we were like, okay, we'll kind of brainstorm off that. So the first time we did it, we had it going and it would lift one of the robots that one of the other team's robots at our school. And then when we got to contest, some robots were too narrow to get up on it, some were too wide. And so then we had to brainstorm on how to get it to expand and how to get the ramp to flop out the right way. It took a lot of teamwork and collaboration to get there.
Okay, so tell our audience about the lift. How does that work? I know you say it's bonus, and I think that's the you're trying to get to that level, get the most points. So, tell us about how that works and how you go about teaming up with another team. I mean, I imagine when you go out there, you're not going to know a team. How does that work? Do you just slide under one and say, "Hey, I'm going to pick you up"? It doesn't matter.
Well, I was going to say, at competitions, we have to go around to different teams, and we look at their robot, we see how wide it is, how high their tires are off the ground, because that was a big issue, was because the ramp was too low. They couldn't get their robot all the way up, so we had to check and make sure they were a certain height off the ground. And during their matches, they drive and load, so I take notes during all of the matches. And I say, yes, this robot will work, this one will drive up our ramp, and that kind of thing. So that's kind of how we figure out our alliance partners for the final rounds.
Okay.
Yeah, all the matches are randomly generated by a computer. So once all the teams are checked in, the computer will assign your partner robot and then the two robots that you're going to go against. And so once we get that sheet that's got all of our alliance partners, the girls will go around and talk to their alliance partner and look at the robot, and if they have time, they'll practice and see if it'll actually work and kind of strategize that way. So we never really know what's going to happen until we get there and can kind of see what we're dealing with up against and then what we're going to be paired with.
Okay, now I read up a little bit. I'm trying to prepare. Is there a section of the game where the robot has to move autonomously? Is that correct? And now, how does that work? Who programs it? How does that work? I see everybody's pointing at Chase with neon signs.
Yes, I program it. We use a program called Easy C where you just drag and drop a command over into it, and so basically ours, we have a shooter on it, so ours will they'll say, okay, autonomy in 3, 2, 1, start it. Autonomy.
Autonomous.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
And
inside joke, sorry.
So our controller won't work. It won't do anything after you're hooked into it, and they start it. Ours will shoot one ball. Others will drive up and shoot. It's all on your own. Even if you try to push buttons on the controller, it's not going to work. And then as soon as that's over, a bell will ding, and they're like, all right, driver control, 3, 2, 1, and then it starts.
Okay, so it's you said 15 seconds of that, is that right?
Sir.
Okay, and it could be any time that all of a sudden they do that, or is it sort of planned? Do you know ahead of time?
It's at the very beginning of the match.
Okay.
So you have to start in a colored square, and it has to be fit perfectly in this square to be able to start it. And if it's not, then they have to wait on you, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, so let's bring our listeners up to date on this. How big is the playing surface, approximately? I mean, I'm not asking, just approximately. How big is the playing surface, and what does it consist of?
The field is a 12 by 12. I don't know what they're called, the mats, kind of
toy tile.
Yeah, play mats. They kind of fit together like a puzzle. So it's 12 by 12, and there's 4 robots on a field. There'll be 2 on the red team or the red alliance, and there'll be 2 on the blue alliance. And, of course, they mentioned earlier that the goal of the game is they've got 4-inch diameter kind of Nerf balls that they have to launch into goals that are about 30 inches high off the ground. Those are what the big points are for. But anyways, it's 12 by 12, and there's a 12-inch perimeter that goes around the field. And so they have to...
Now, does your driver have to stand in one spot and they can't move? Because I know that's how they do it in some of the others. I was just curious that.
Yeah, it's very... I think it's... I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, girls.
Who's the driver?
Me.
Oh,
yeah. Reba.
Rebecca down there is driving.
Hey.
So what's that like?
It's intense. Because you have everyone looking at you and staring at you, wondering what you're going to do. And Chase is always down there with me, staring at me and also yelling at me. Telling me what to do. We're very competitive.
Well, as you should be. And I tell you, I've noticed a lot about people who are successful. They are very competitive. You have to push yourself to get to the top level. There's no question about it. Anybody that's not doing that, they're not telling the whole story. They have been pushing themselves to get to the top level. There's no question about it. And it looks like you had some good motivation. You wanted to beat the guys. It looks like you've done that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Definitely. Y'all rub that in their face. I can see it already.
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Golly, man.
I think a lot of because it's mainly males when we go to tournaments.
Yeah.
I think they underestimate what these young ladies are capable of, and they're going to Worlds. So.
Well, I mean, they shouldn't. You should
Yeah.
never do that. That's silly. So anybody can do anything they want to do.
Yes.
If
Absolutely.
But we
push it.
can do it in heels.
I knew you were going to say that. You're trying to recreate this Anderson Starr interview, and I don't think you're going to be able to do
That's
that.
our thing is the heels.
I saw that in there. I figured somebody might get that in there. I should have guessed it was you, Alexis, that said that.
Always.
Yeah. All right. So now this year's game. What's the name of it? Okay, you've told us a little bit about it, but what's the name of the game? Isn't there? Man,
It's called Nothing But Net.
nothing but net.
Nothing but net.
Okay, and some of the balls, if I'm not mistaken, have a little more points to them than others, right? What's the difference in them? Do you know? I mean, I know a color, but
Okay, the green ones are worth 1 point in the low goal and then 5 in the high goal. And the orange are worth double, so they're worth 2 in the low and then 10 in the high.
but if you pick somebody up and score a goal, what do you
Then,
get?
if you are above the diameter, which is
Okay.
a foot off the
Perimeter.
ground,
Perimeter. Yeah, I get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's 50 points. And then if you are above the height of a ball, then you have a low goal, and it's worth 25 points.
Okay. So have y'all picked something up above the perimeter, I guess?
Oh, yeah.
sir.
That's what our robot does.
Oh, right. Yeah, I know that. Okay, Alexis. I see how this is going real quick. No, I guess what my point is how many motors does it take, or can you only have a few?
We're only allowed to have 12 motors on the entire robot, and it used to be 10 motors, but since they added a new element of being able to lift a robot, now we can split the wires and have 12.
Okay.
So we use 2 for the lift, right? Or is it 4?
4.
4 for
2
the
on each
lift.
side.
And then we have 4 for the driving, and then 3 for the shooter.
Okay.
And then we have a linear motion
Oh,
kit
that's
that
right.
splits the robot in
Go,
half.
Chase, get it together.
Yeah, I know.
Oh wow! Tell me about that. A linear motion kit that splits it in half for what purpose?
That's what, when we were talking earlier about like things we had to fix, it
Right.
was some robots are too wide to fit up on it because you can only be in like 18 by 18 is the parameters that you have to fit into. And so if a robot's exactly 18 inches and we are too, then
yeah.
they can't drive up us. But in the last 30 seconds, you can pick them up, which means you can expand bigger than 18 inches. So we expand and our ramp flops down and they can drive up us.
Wow.
Oh wow, that's pretty remarkable.
Yeah. So on the controller, you have several controls that allow you to do all these functions, or do you have to do multiple controls to cause this, action?
Well, the controller is like an Xbox controller.
Yeah.
That's what I think of.
Right.
And so the two, I think they're called joysticks,
Mhm.
are
No, go
what
ahead.
controls. They control the drivetrain.
Yeah.
And the top 2 buttons control the lift system, and so the top button goes up, of course, and the bottom button goes down. And then what's it called?
I don't know what those are called.
I don't know what those are called. The little buttons, the
They're
button at the
bedazzled.
top. Yeah, they're
By the way.
bedazzled. By the way, we bedazzle our robot.
Oh,
Of course.
I wasn't to that. I wasn't to that yet, but thank you so much. I was going to ask
Sorry.
about decorations. That's okay.
We'll get to that later.
Oh, good.
The top button controls the shooter,
Yeah. Okay.
and the buttons on the left-hand side at the top of the controller control how wide the robot goes when it expands.
It's basically one button per command.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So does that all have to be programmed by y'all, or is it kind of preset like that?
We
You
have to program it.
So it's like bare bones. You have to set. I want this to do this input to do this, and
You have to set the power on it and everything.
wow.
Now, I looked at the robot, and it was just a picture, but it looked like a lot of Connect. Is it plastic parts or
It's
metal?
Metal.
All metal.
Straight up
And
metal.
it is heavy. It is a tank.
Yeah, they a lot of teams will use aluminum. and
Okay.
it's kind of
Yeah.
expensive, but the girls are using steel because we wanted something really durable and heavy, so it wouldn't top over when they're trying
Right.
to pick up. So it's a beast. It's pretty heavy.
Yeah, I'm the one that has to carry it around everywhere.
Poor Chase.
Oh, that's terrible. Yeah.
My arms are too short.
So what?
okay?
How much
I don't have
is there a limit to what it can weigh?
There's
Nope.
no limit for the weight.
Unfortunately.
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 Wow. So it could be like 5,000 pounds. I mean, that's kind of
I think
exaggerating, but I mean,
Yeah, that is
Leave
exaggerating.
it to us to make a 5,000-pound robot.
Oh my goodness. So have you had? I know we talked about this a little bit, but I want to expand on it. You talked about one thing, but early on, did you have some setbacks? I know you talked about widening it, but is there anything else that you had to re-engineer? Any of the motors that you had to readjust? Maybe anything like that you can think of?
Motors are always an issue.
Yeah, clearance, I guess.
It's yeah. Like, we've had motors that'll just strip out, and we're like freaking out. We're like, Mr. Shaw, what is going on? What is going on? And he's like, let it go. And so we're like running it, and he's like, okay, it's stripped out. So we actually know how to fix the motors now, and so we can do it by ourselves now.
Okay, great. I got the next question here. The game itself. You run one. I guess I'm going to call them matches. I don't know what they're called. You run a match. It's a few minutes it lasts?
A minute and 30 seconds? 2 minutes?
2 minutes, because 15 seconds of it, the first is autonomous, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you score a lot of points usually in that, or do you ever get a few? I'm just serious. I'm curious.
Yes. Yes. Our robot, it sits in the back corner, like at the very starting block, and we have 24 loads that we can put in, like hand load it, and otherwise you have to like drive around, but ours can't intake anymore because we don't have any more motors to use.
Okay.
So we just sit in the back, and Reba will just hold the button down, and I just load balls into it, and it just makes it every time.
Oh, wow. So y'all have really perfected the distance, how much pressure it takes, how much force it takes to. So I assume you've had a lot of practice.
A whole lot of trial and error.
Especially with the rubber bands.
So let's say we have a strip motor. We have this match, and we're 2 minutes down. We've had a strip motor. Is there a place you take it to and you can repair it?
We have our own pit tables aside from where the matches are. And so that's usually where all of our toolboxes sit and our computer sits in case we have a programming problem. And so we'll like deconstruct the robot there and take apart the motor and fix it.
Okay. Do you ever help someone else in case they have a need about? I noticed that. Oh, definitely. Okay.
We always do.
I noticed one team. I think me and you grew at the best that we did. They had to help them. I think it was a mall day. They had to help them do the program. Yeah. Their programming wasn't working right, so it wasn't programming their actual remote, I don't think. Yeah. And one of the other teams helped them. I think Talladega helped them. Okay, well that's good. That helps build teamwork. So Alexis, you go around. Oh yeah, listen at this. Oh my goodness, you go around to the different teams and you say, okay. Now, how do you do this? Do you say, okay, we have this robot it can pick up. This is really what it does. Do you want to team up with us? Do both teams get some of the points, or how does that work?
Well, the two teams together always are working together to score to have the most points against the other team.
Okay, I see.
But when we get to the matches and everybody's checked in and they're all through inspections and things, we get a schedule for the day, and I'll go through and highlight it. And then I'll make a list of all the teams, and I'll go to each one, and I'll say, okay, this is what their robot does, this is what they do. And while the girls are not in matches, if those alliances are in another match before us, I'll go and watch their robot so I can see exactly what's happening and what they're doing, and what they're good at and what they're not good at, and what we can practice on beforehand and that kind of thing.
Okay.
She's a spy.
Yeah, basically.
That's what I do.
She's the spy.
Wow, there we go. Now, let's see. I think it's Rebecca.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, how were you doing anything like driving with the boys' team, or what was your role? I don't want you to be. I'm serious. It's a serious question. All three of you. Did you all have a role? I'm trying to understand. I know you didn't feel like they wanted to ask your opinion, but did you all have a role with the boys' team? Did any of that help you build on what you're doing now? Learning anything from that?
Definitely. We had a lot of ideas coming from the boys team. We would pitch them ideas and they're like, no, we're doing this, or we're doing something different. And so we kind of brought those ideas together when we made our own team. Alexis and I were actually on the same other boys team, and we were in charge of the notebook, and I would suggest ideas like on the build of the robot and such, and they would just shoot me down.
They wouldn't listen.
They wouldn't listen to us.
Yeah.
Now, I continued, and I did the engineering. Well, we did it together for the boys' team, but then when we split off on our own, we each have our own individual roles. So Reba drives, and Chase does programming and building, and I do the engineering notebook.
Okay, so tell me about the engineering notebook. What does that consist of? How does that work? How much time?
All the time.
All the time?
Literally.
No, yeah. The engineering notebook is basically just everything that happens in robotics from day to day. I record everything that happens on the robot, the programming, how the team started, what our goals are. I keep documents of the rules, so that way if we're ever in a match and something's wrong and we don't think that that's the right, we can go and check just to make sure. We have a scrapbook, so it's basically just everything that happens in robotics.
Wow. Okay. And
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Most teams that have boys just get the regular. Well, this is true. Composition notebooks, and they just go right up there, and they're like, "Okay, yeah, we're cool." And I'm like, "No, honey, we have rhinestones."
yeah, on your book.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
in the book, on the robot, on the controller.
Okay, so
I got it covered.
So what's the name of the robot?
Juice box.
Juice box. So how did you come up
We
with that?
can't tell you.
Yes, we can.
Oh, geez.
Okay. This is good.
I know,
so
I'm
so
great.
yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Chase,
Okay.
You wanna?
Somebody please. Come on.
Oh,
You got me on the edge of my
No, it's
seat.
not good.
Should we cut the break and we'll? No.
Yeah, that'll work.
When we come back, put your kids to bed. We'll tell you when we come back. No, can you tell me anything about why you called it juice box?
It's
We had a
funny.
saying that went around, and that's pretty much where it had to do
Okay.
with the juice box, and
Okay,
it just kind of stuck.
I got you. Okay, well,
We'll tell you later. It's okay.
it's gonna tell me off the air. Well, I understand.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's
okay.
very fair. That's very fair. But it's bejeweled.
Oh yeah.
Yes, you better believe it.
I was in charge of that.
No.
The boys
Soccer.
the boys would not let me put rhinestones on it, so I was like, okay, just wait.
I would love to know their attitude about this.
Oh, it's hilarious.
At the beginning of the year, they were.
We
Pretty-
didn't like each other at the
We
beginning
didn't
of the
like,
year.
our team didn't get along at the beginning of the year, and then now that we're on our own separate teams, we get along a lot better.
We're all a family.
Did you have
now.
to help? Did y'all have to play as a team in some of the competitions where you had to lift them up, or do you go get some other?
Oh yeah, even at state, we were partnered with
With
our
our
old
old
team.
team.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was fun.
So how do they decide? But if you are a team together, how do they decide between the two who goes? I guess is what I'm asking. You know, how did you get to go, but they didn't get to go? If sometimes you teamed up, how do you win matches? I know you have to score the most points, I would assume.
You want to know how we get to Worlds? Or
Yeah, how did you get
I'll tell
selected
you
for
all
Worlds?
about that.
Okay. That's yeah. That's all you.
I know.
What if we got
Um,
ourselves into?
Okay.
Okay, so we won the design award at Worlds, which at
Well-
Worlds, not yet, but we will maybe. No,
State. We won the design award at state.
Okay, and the design award includes the design of the robot, the engineering notebook, and then our judging. So when we got to state, they told us which judging table to go to, and we interviewed with 2 judges.
Okay.
And we had to demonstrate our robot. They asked us all about the design process, just so they knew that we knew the robot,
Right.
and it wasn't just our sponsor
Oh,
that
yeah.
built everything, and we
Which
knew what we were
happens,
doing.
Which happens a lot.
Right. So that's basically what the interview is about. And then they look through your engineering notebook and they look at everything that happens just to make sure you have good documentation so you know everything that happened. And then they just kind of came around and looked and saw all of us, and so that was pretty much it.
So your interview, do you all 3 do the interview?
Yes.
Okay. And how long does one last approximately?
The one at state took
A long
longer.
time.
It took a long time. We were
Okay.
up there for 20-25 minutes
Yeah.
talking and answering questions
Okay.
constantly. Usually at our qualifying tournaments, they only took about like
Maybe
maybe 5
5
minutes.
Okay.
So you said the qualifying, is that like below state? Or,
Mm-hmm.
so that's kind of where it starts. Everybody kind of starts there, and they so many from that level advance, and then okay.
Well, it's like the qualifying matches. It's at each tournament. So
Okay.
like
So like, is there like
before-
regional tournaments? There's like several of those in the state, or is it all?
well, it's like you have a qualifying match in each one, and then you have the like alliance
Okay.
matches at the end, which
Okay.
is where you decide who wins and who goes to state. So like you're just randomly paired with a bunch of people just to see
Gotcha.
like how everybody's robot works, and
Okay.
then at the end of the day, the top 10 or top 8 teams, right?
Right.
The top 8 teams will pick like, okay, well I like your robot, so you're going to be on my team, and
Okay.
then you compete the rest of the day, and you figure out who wins and who
Okay.
goes.
So in a qualifying tournament, it's the tournament champions, usually the Excellence Award winner and the Design Award qualify for state.
Okay.
And then depending on how many robots you have in your state, and it's different because Alabama's kind of small, we can only send 7, but
right.
it'll be certain awards. If you win at state, it'll go to
Okay.
the Worlds.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
similar to the best in a
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to compare it to
Right.
best because we covered that quite extensively back in the fall. So
Right. Best has regional hubs, I
Yes,
believe.
that's
Yes.
correct.
There's nothing like that here yet, I don't think, because this is really about the 3rd or 4th year that Alabama's
So
been
it's just
in the mix.
the size of it's not there yet.
Well,
correct?
actually,
Yep.
it sounds like a great program. I mean, I'm this is not really a. I mean, we're not pitting one against the other. I
No,
want to make
no,
sure that's clear.
no.
This is just sounds like a great. It'd be neat to go see. Is it like a real pep rally atmosphere when you're actually doing? Or is it quiet out there?
It's intense.
At the beginning, it's kind of quiet, but as you get, everybody's kind of antsy to see who will advance on to the, what's it called? The the final matches of the day. And so the final matches of the day are really competitive, and it feels like a pep rally.
It almost feels it's like you could compare it to a football game.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Okay.
you
Yeah.
really
Intense.
could.
And it
Because
can
you've
get-
got people like yelling from the stands. They're like, "Oh my gosh, lift
Yeah.
it!" And we're like, "We're trying."
and it can get very heated. I know
Oh, definitely.
elimination matches usually should take about 45 minutes or so, and we were at a tournament in around Birmingham, and it took a little over 2 hours.
It was
'Cause
Macador,
after-
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Because
was
after every
Macador.
match, there would be some kind of argument about the rules
Oh,
and this and
okay.
that, and it's very, very intense.
It was a
Gotcha.
stroke.
Because towards the end of the year, everybody wants to qualify for state.
Right.
So everybody's
and,
going to start learning the rules and
Yeah. So
Trying-
it's
you know, trying to
it can
challenge
get pretty intense out there.
Yeah, I know we went to the best regional, I guess, competition. It was in Talladega, and it was just this pep rally. Like
constant.
I mean, the whole day.
They had a band there.
Yeah,
Couple of bands.
Talladega brought part of their
They brought
band.
their band,
Pleasant Valley
yeah.
brought part of their band. It
Yeah,
was.
It's
Yeah.
wild.
I mean, they had
That's-
mascots there. You had like different mascots from different schools. You had a mascot dance off. I mean, it was a really, I don't know what you'd call it. It's like a day long football game, I guess you
Right.
could call it, but to a different level.
Oh, okay. So Alexis.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
every time.
I think this is going to be our highest rated video for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think so
Gary.
too.
I'm just waiting to see how this turns
Good thing
out.
it's on YouTube. We don't have to pay the bandwidth.
No
cost.
kidding.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so how did you decide to do robotics? How did this
Oh yes, finally. Okay, this is a good story, guys. This is true to the T. Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Shaw was gone, or no, I was gone one day, and I had to take a test in physical science. And so I had to go down to the robot room, and I was very scared. I didn't know anybody. It was kind of scary. And I had to make up this test. Mr. Shaw gave me the wrong test, which I caught, by the way. And anyway, that's not important. They had a coffee pot down there. So when he got back from Iowa, I was like, "Can I have one of those forms?" And on that form, I said, it says, "What will you bring to the robotics team?" I put coffee, and here we are.
Coffee.
Coffee, very
Now
important.
listen to that. She's the one saying that girls shouldn't be looked at, that they can't do anything, and she's the one talking about that she's going to make the coffee. I mean,
Hey, that's
I mean,
important.
Hey, but-
really,
Hey,
putting yourself in a corner there, aren't you?
I mean,
Coffee.
Well,
that's
except-
important at work too. I mean, the people who get there
Apparently.
early make the coffee.
That's
you know?
right.
Well, yeah, but we got to Worlds.
I know that is a good point.
Excuse you.
So,
So do you offer? So do you offer coffee? So do you? Yeah, that's good. So do you offer coffee to the rest of the girls during the game? Is that?
Oh no.
No.
I don't think
Okay.
she's ever made a cup of coffee.
No, I don't make them for them. I
makes
make
them
them
for
for
herself.
myself.
Oh well. That's,
Sometimes Mr. Shaw, if he's being nice, but
yeah, that's a good plan.
I also take his coffee sometimes. It's
She'll
funny.
hide
We like to hide
I
stuff
We
from
like to hide
Mr.
things.
Shaw.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
annoying to
He
him.
gets mad.
But it's hilarious.
I'm sorry. Now, you other ladies, how did you get involved in robotics? What made you decide? Hey, I want to do that.
My story.
Yeah, seriously.
My story is not interesting. I noticed it's not as interesting as coffee.
Yeah.
I noticed Mr. Shaw was gone for a week in our physical science class. I was in the same class Alexis was in. And I was asking around different teachers, and I was like, "Hey, where's Mr. Shaw at?" And they're like, "Oh, he's with the robotics team in Iowa." And I'm like, "They get to miss school for robotics? We have a robotics team?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Give me one of those forms. I want one." And yeah, here I am.
Mhm.
It's not that interesting.
All right, Chase, is that sort of like you? You just want to be out of school?
Actually, I was
Oh wow,
in.
this is so shallow.
No, I'm just Rebecca. Rebecca, I'm just kidding. Okay, we cut up on the show
No,
too.
you got me. I really wanted to get out of school.
That's a good plan.
You're not lying.
Actually, I was in physics class last year, and I noticed that a bunch of guys in my class were missing, and they got back. It was towards the end of the year, and I was like, what do you robo nerds do all day? And they, well, we'll show you. So they went downstairs, and they brought the robots up and let us drive them and everything. I was like, oh, my gosh, I'm hooked. And
There you
so
go.
as soon as
There
Mr.
you
Shaw
go.
gave out the applications, I think I was the first one he gave one to.
But now you tell three different stories how you came to do this.
Oh,
Hold on
yeah.
now. This is important. You tell three different stories of how you came to this, but you wouldn't want to not do it, right? I mean, you've
Oh,
really
no.
learned to
Definitely
love it, enjoy it. I mean, even I know I know Chase said she saw it and she wanted to do it, and you two came along because you wanted to make the coffee, and you said, "Hey, I'll just get on board." Because that's what I want to do. There's nothing wrong. All three of those ways are okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And, you brought something to the table, and you've done a great accomplishment. So that's great. That's great. Well, we'll be right back, and we're going to answer a few more questions, and then we'll let them get on to the rest of their spring break. So, Hey Techies Show will be right back. Stay with us.
Tech questions? We have answers. Give us a call, 256-782-5600.
Gamecock Outfitters, located on the square at 109 Ladiga Street in Jacksonville, provides customers with outdoor apparel and gear. Gamecock Outfitters is able to help you find exactly what you need for every outdoor adventure. Gamecock Outfitters is open Tuesday through Friday from 10 o'clock to 5:30 and Saturday from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock. For additional information, contact them at 256-435-2008 or check out their website at GadsdenOutfitters.com.
Jacksonville Bookstore offers supplies for school all throughout the year. From books to binders, pencils to scantrons, Jacksonville Bookstore has it all. They are open Monday through Saturday with convenient hours and location on 302 Mountain Street Northwest in Jacksonville. To find out more, like them on Facebook or call 256-435-7407. Jacksonville Bookstore, a proud patron of WLJS.
Jacksonville Tan is a proud patron of WLJS, serving Jacksonville and surrounding areas since 1987. At their location at 115 Francis Street East, next to Walgreens. Jacksonville Tan knows a thing or two about healthy glow, offering 16 tanning beds and virtually no wait times. A great tan is never out of the question. For more info, call them at 256-435-1770.
This is 91.9 FM, WLJS Jacksonville, your cure for common radio.
Yeah, I like this right here. Makes me feel free. It's got that, that boom. Mister.
I told you, Guru picked up a music. Okay.
That's exactly what I did last week on my vacation.
Yeah,
I was free to do what I want, and I had a good time.
Yeah, he listened to that on the cruise the entire time.
Absolutely.
Entire time. Yeah. All the microphones, I think.
Yeah, they're all on now.
Yeah, okay. I started to say I didn't think they were all on. That's okay. Oh, Alexis, you going to be okay?
I'm good.
We choked you up, huh?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Well, at least our guests enjoyed the bumper music. If you didn't, Michael,
I did not dislike it. I don't know what what am I supposed to? Are we supposed to have a?
You probably shook your head when I sent that to you this morning.
actually
Like,
did.
oh my gosh!
I actually
Why
did.
is he sending me?
Yeah. Well, actually, I think I kind of knew what it was, but I wasn't sure. I'm one of those sheltered live kids. I know. I like some music. What's wrong with that? Some music I don't care for. That was okay though. Now, you're a senior, and this would be Chase, senior, and you all are juniors. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Man,
So-
Quite Alexis.
just
So-
enjoy the life you have.
So Chase, has the senioritis kicked in yet?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
I figured so much.
So what's your plan after high school? What are you wanting to do? What
Well, I actually got the VEX scholarship at JSU, so
Okay,
I'm getting
awesome.
2 years tuition paid for, and I'll be a
Excellent.
part of their robotics team
Excellent.
next year. But I'm actually going to major in psychology to be a substance abuse counselor, but I'm going to minor in engineering just like as a fallback.
Okay.
So
Well, that sounds
Nothing
great.
wrong with that.
That's a
That's
great
awesome.
plan. Absolutely, a JSU.
We have a
Yeah.
great applied engineering program here.
Yes, we do.
I've noticed.
And we have
It's pretty awesome.
We have a really great robotics team.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Okay. I'm afraid to ask. Alexis, what's the plan? I mean, just I know it's going to change because you're just in 11th grade. It's probably going to change.
For what?
Well, what do you,
What's your plan for tomorrow?
What do you?
She don't know.
After you make the coffee in the morning, what's your plan?
After you leave the house.
Want to take a nap?
Okay, so have you thought that far ahead after high school? Any at all? What'd you hope to do?
Well, this is actually kind of interesting. Doing the engineering notebook actually has helped me because I'm going to be an event planner. So
Okay.
I'm probably going to major in business. And that's the plan right now. It probably will change again. But
Sure. Yeah.
that's
Well,
the
it's good to
plan.
have a plan to go into. What about you, Rebecca? What do you want? What are you looking
I
forward
have
to?
absolutely no idea.
Well, there's nothing
She's
wrong.
going
with
to
Nothing wrong with
circus
that.
school.
I'm going to join the circus. This is what my plan is.
Well.
No. I know that for sure I want to be a part-time missionary in Anniston,
Okay.
and that's all I got going for me right now.
And that's a very great goal. All three very great
Yes.
goals. I mean, coffee making is a very great goal too. Nothing
Yes.
wrong with that. You had to know I was going to give you a hard time.
I know.
Okay.
It's okay. Everybody does.
Well, yeah, right.
She's an easy target.
Yes. So
Thanks, fellas.
how do you feel about your great teacher? I mean,
Oh,
can you
he's
tell it-
not that great. No, I'm just kidding.
No, he's amazing.
We
Be
love
quiet.
Mr.
We
Shaw.
love
No,
you,
I'm just
Shaw.
kidding. I love you, Bo. Oh,
Love
Mr.
you
Shaw.
too. Apparently on a first name basis.
We're all on a first name basis.
now, speaking of that, I understand that your fine teacher here got an award this month.
No, he didn't.
Totally
Stop.
deserved it. He deserved it all the
He
way.
deserved it.
He is Calhoun County's Teacher of the Month. Was that for March? I'm assuming, or
Yes.
is it?
Yes,
Yes.
it was in March.
Great.
Yep.
Well, that's
Yeah,
excellent.
congratulations.
Thank
yeah,
you. Thank you.
absolutely. Very, very nice honor for
Thank
a
you.
lot of teachers in Calhoun County. So to get it for 1 month, that's a really nice honor.
Thank you.
Now let's let me have the mic because I have a few questions for Mr. Shaw. I understand that some of your teaching experiences was in South Korea.
Correct, yes.
Can you tell us anything about?
Well, forever ago, I was going to AUM, and AUM is a sister university with the University of Ulsan, and they have a cultural exchange program every summer, and so I signed up for it and was selected and went over there for a month and loved it. And I was kind of tired of doing what I was doing, so I thought, hey, let me just get out of here, go teach over there for a while, and I spent 2 years over there, and while I was there, I met my wife,
Yeah.
and that worked out well, and actually her family just came in yesterday from Korea, and they're going to be with us for about a month and a half, so.
Well, that's great.
Absolutely.
That is great. So you came back over here and decided to get a job in teaching here, I guess, or you already
Yes.
had one, something like that, maybe.
Right. Yeah, I came back kind of after school had started, and
Yeah.
so I spent most of the winter and the fall, spring rather, looking for jobs and applied for a position with Calhoun County. It was the last interview. It was right before
Wow.
school was going to start, and I was getting kind of worried. And fortunately, I was hired by actually Chase's dad. He was the
Okay.
principal at the time.
Okay.
And so it worked out well, White Plains.
Now, speaking of that, at White Plains, how long have you been robotics coach?
2 years officially. We really started 3 years ago. I was teaching physics, and I was a senior sponsor at the time too. And we come over for Jacksonville's senior day, and we always tour the communications department and the engineering department. When we went to the engineering department, they had one of the fields, the VEX field set up, and I said, "Hey, that kind of looks like fun." And I asked the physics kids, "You want to give it a shot?" And they said yes. And so I had a little money. I'd written a grant earlier, and so I bought a very basic kit, and we went to 2 tournaments, one in center, and then we went to the state tournament. Kids had a blast. We learned a lot, and so I asked my principal if we could have a class, and he's very supportive, and he said, "Yeah, we'll try to make it work," and they did. And so we had our first year last year as an official team.
Okay.
And we run 2 teams, and then we rolled over this year, and we've got our 3 teams. And
Yeah, well, you had to force this
Right.
third team. I mean,
Absolutely.
and it was the worth doing.
Totally, yeah. It was a very good decision. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. That I can understand why you were selected for this award. You sound like you put your heart into it. And
Absolutely.
certainly, I know these girls appreciate it. No question about that. Now,
Absolutely.
Rebecca.
Hey.
Okay. So you're going to nationals. Worlds. Going to Worlds. Okay, what are you looking forward to when you get out there? I mean, is there anything? I know the competition, but
Meeting new people. Other countries have always fascinated me a lot. And so I'm really looking forward to diving into each individual country's kind of culture and seeing what that's like.
okay.
I have a good answer.
Okay, yes, by all means. Alexis, I almost saved you for last,
This
but
is
why?
another story too. We were at not even our very first competition. We were at summer camp, and I told Mr. Shaw, I said, when we win our first tournament, we're going to eat McDonald's for dinner afterwards. We won our first tournament, and we were sitting at McDonald's, and I said, okay, when we go to Worlds, we're going to order Chinese food. Well, we're going to Worlds, and I'm ready for that Chinese food.
She already found where we're going.
Oh, yeah, I'd already found a place.
Oh, well, nothing wrong with knowing where you want to go. I mean,
That's right.
I like food too, so I don't blame you. Well, what's your hopes? What do you want to accomplish out of this going to Worlds?
Mine's basically what Reba said, is getting to experience other cultures. Like this summer for my senior trip, I was supposed to get to go tour around Europe, and things happened overseas. And so now I'm getting to go to Puerto Rico instead, but the fact
Okay.
that I still get to be around those cultures that I was going to get to go see, it really excites me.
Well, that's good. Yeah. Do you have? I know there's 500 teams. Is there any way to know how many countries are involved? Do you
Yeah,
remember?
I actually looked that up too this afternoon. There are 26 countries.
Oh,
that'll
wow.
Be, at VEX, and yeah,
Wow.
about 15,000 kids. So
So there's probably going to be a lot of different languages spoken, I would think. I wonder if you
That'll
have
be
to
fun.
speak English. I mean,
Well,
how would that work? I know you had interpreters, but
yeah, they have drivers meetings, and they'll have one in English, they'll have one in Mandarin Chinese, and they'll have one in Spanish.
I'm going to the one in Mandarin Chinese.
Yeah, I don't. So, and they do have volunteers that do
wow,
that interpret as well.
That's amazing. Just the how it's spread. I mean, all those countries. I mean, you just think of the people in the U.S., but then, wow, amazing.
Yeah, it's going to
and
be
the opportunities that kids have nowadays in school. 'Cause
Right.
this stuff didn't exist
Right,
when I was in
yes.
school. Because I'd have been all on robotics if that had been
Right.
offered.
Sure. You know, Oxford just didn't offer that, did they?
No, not at the time. That was a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, we really appreciate y'all being here tonight. Really do. And,
Yes.
I tell you what, let's see, what's the dates on that again? Let's tell everybody it's in April.
It's April 19th through the 24th.
Okay.
19th to the 24th of April. So how many days? About 20-something days.
Yeah, ballpark.
Around that time, yeah.
Now, do y'all have like a Facebook page or a Twitter account or a website that people can go to and follow?
I have a Twitter.
Yes.
Go ahead and give out your Twitter handle.
The Twitter handle is at WP Robotics.
WP Robotics. You have a website or any of that?
Do not
Not
have a
yet.
website.
No.
I was supposed to get on that in December, and I
Do
never
you
did.
have to do one for? Not really. Is it required? Okay.
Okay. So just follow them on Twitter, WP Robotics, and we'll definitely be keeping an eye on. We'd like to have you back on the show if it's just a phone interview afterwards, just kind of get a
we
recap.
can come back.
Oh, we can
Yeah.
come
We can
back.
come
Oh,
back.
you're welcome to come back. We'd
We
love
love
to
it.
get like
So
a
love it.
recap after you've come back from
Okay,
the
so that was
competition.
the 21st, right? Y'all are
Yeah,
going.
well, the tournament's the 20th through the 23rd.
Right.
We're gonna-
Okay. So, I assume the tournament starts on the 20th actually, or the 21st. The 21st actually. I
Yeah,
guess
the
that Friday,
21st.
that Thursday.
The 20th
Okay.
is all about inspections and checking in and kind of
Right.
getting set up, and then the qualification matches will run for about 2.5 days, and then they'll do the eliminations. And
Okay. Now that is a question that I forgot to ask, unfortunately, but it's not a big deal. I mean, we can talk about it at the end. Do you have warm ups? Do you have time where you get out on the court? I said court, but practice, anything like
Well,
that?
they have separate practice fields that you can go to and kind of work on what you need to figure out.
I'm assuming they have different fields and multiple teams go at one time, even at some of these states, right? They would have to get it all in, or no?
I'll be honest with you, I have no idea. When we were in Iowa last year, they had 6 fields going for the tournament, and they had about 20 or 25 practice fields. And I think they'll have this probably a bigger setup at Worlds. Plus, they'll have separate fields for skills autonomous skills and driver skills.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Wow. Well, that'll be good.
Yeah.
I mean, just like we got two teams. Who's the other team from Calhoun County? Do you guys know?
Alexandria Middle.
Elementary.
Elementary.
Oh,
Yeah.
so they're going to be going out there for IQ.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's their second year. I think they qualified and went last year.
Wow.
From right here in Calhoun County, Alabama, folks, we got folks going to the World Vex.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, in Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Louisville.
Make sure you eat some good food while you're there.
Yeah, no
Chinese
kidding. Well, you can go see isn't it the baseball? Is the Baseball Hall of Fame there? I think it is, yeah. In Louisville, Kentucky.
Slugger.
The Louisville Slugger, go out there.
Probably get some good barbecue.
I'm sure you can get some, absolutely.
I had some good barbecue in Las Vegas, believe it or not.
Well, ladies, and your wonderful coach, Mr. Bo, we really appreciate it
Thank
very
y'all
much
so much for coming on.
We hope.
Yes, we appreciate it very much.
And hopefully, I'll contact Mr. Bo and we'll talk, and maybe while y'all are down there, you can call us back and let us know how it's going. Live on the radio, maybe that Thursday or something.
Fun.
So
Yeah, we can set that up.
yeah, great, absolutely. So good. So we'll work on that. So thank you so much. I hope y'all have a fabulous night, a fabulous rest of your week.
Thank you.
And good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hey Techies Show, our dose coming up next.
You've listened this long, so stick around for our dose.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Jack Speer. The California legislature has passed a bill to raise the state minimum wage to the highest in the country. Capital Public Radio's Ben Bradford reports the measure could be signed into law within days.
California's minimum wage would increase gradually from the current $10 an hour to $15 an hour in 2022. Then it would be adjusted for inflation annually. Lawmakers voted largely along party lines. The Democratic State Senate leader, Kevin De Leon, argued the wage should be high enough that full-time workers don't live in poverty.
Wages since the mid-'70s have stagnated for working families. Meanwhile, consumer costs, as well as corporate profits, have skyrocketed.
Republicans argued employers who can't afford to pay higher wages will have to shed workers. Governor Jerry Brown says he'll sign the measure Monday. For NPR News, I'm Ben Bradford in Sacramento.
President Obama has been meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the two-day nuclear summit that got underway today in Washington. The two world leaders, among other things, pledging to cooperate to confront the threat of a nuclear-armed North Korea. The president said both he and his Chinese counterparts are, quote, united in our efforts to defend against North Korean provocation.
In order to ensure that we have a denuclearized Korean peninsula and that we can restore a sense of stability and peace to the region.
Opening the global summit near the White House today, the president also joined leaders of Japan and South Korea in calling for further steps to rein in the North. Washington got a feel for the rough edges of Turkish politics today when the country's president, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, spoke at the Brookings Institution think tank. His guards tried to physically oust a Turkish journalist from the event and then clashed with a small group of protesters across the street. NPR's Larry Kaplow reports.
Inside the event, Erdogan was asked about the prosecution of journalists in Turkey and whether he has a problem with criticism from the press. Through an interpreter, Erdogan said criticism is fine, but not insults.
In terms of criticism, I have no problems with nobody whatsoever. But when it comes to insult and defamation, of course I have problems. I will thank each and every one of those who criticize me. But if they were to insult me, my lawyers will go and file for a lawsuit. Insult is something different.
In town for a nuclear summit, Erdogan said the West should resettle more refugees, noting Turkey hosts more than 2.7 million Syrians. And he called for continued close ties with the United States. Larry Kaplow, NPR News.
More people were signing up for first-time unemployment benefits last week. The Labor Department reports the number of people filing initial jobless claims rose by 11,000 to a seasonally adjusted 276,000. A mixed close on Wall Street today. The Dow dropped 31 points to 17,685. The Nasdaq closed up a fraction. You're listening to NPR.
Technologic. Fix it, crash it, change it, melt, upgrade it, chart it, point it, zoom it, press it, snap it, work it, quick erase it, write it, cut it, paste it, save it, load it, check it, quick rewrite it.
Welcome back to the Hey Techies Show, a.k.a. the Hey Robotics Show.
That's right.
Because we just had a great group of young ladies and, of course, their coach in the house. And, of course, our number is 256-782-5600, and we would be glad, more than happy to take your call on any subject that you want to talk about.
We'd rather take your call than have to go through our list of stuff.
Yeah, we'd be glad to take your call.
But don't forget Twitter, Facebook.
To work through your tech
email,
problem. But I know
smoke signals.
Yeah, that works too.
Yeah.
Book face, anything like that.
But not, what's that one that Bruce likes or didn't like or used to like? Yik Yak.
Yik Yak.
We don't do Yik Yak. Sorry.
No, we haven't. And I don't do Instagram. My son's on it.
I don't either. I think I have one, but I don't get on it.
Instagram's for the kids.
It's for those youngsters.
Yes, Instagram's for all those kids. You know that.
Yeah. So, how was your spring break, Michael? We really didn't get for those who who always follow the show week in and week out, and we appreciate those listeners. They
reminded me of something.
They probably tuned in if they did it online, like through our live stream. There was no live stream, obviously, but we had a rewind on the radio station. So, yeah, we were on vacation last week, I guess you could say, because JSU, where the station is housed out of, was on spring break. So, kind of the facilities were kind of on autopilot here. So, and I know I was out of town, and I don't know about you, Michael, if you took the time away to go somewhere or not.
I was not out of town.
You did not go out of town.
No, I didn't do it. I actually did very little, believe it or not.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that, too. It's not a staycation.
It was a staycation.
Well,
that is correct.
I took advantage of the week off from work and went on a cruise.
Yeah. Went
on a cruise out of Miami. This is the first time I've taken a cruise out of Miami. I've done on cruises before, but never one with this itinerary to the Caribbean, and had a fantastic time. But one thing I will say, and this is tech related, so just hang on, is we are very spoiled as Americans in terms of access to high-speed internet wherever we're at. I mean, you go to any fast food restaurant, like the one I went to this evening before coming to the station, free open Wi-Fi.
I keep trying to tell you and Bruce that.
Yeah. You get there, and first of all, on the cruise ship, they charge you for everything.
Yes.
So the Wi-Fi is not free. You have to pay for it. It was like, I think around $80 for 100 minutes. Now. They don't measure it in bytes. It's minutes, and you've got to like log in and then start surfing. You got to remember to log out, or the time keeps on ticking. It's kind of crazy. I didn't, partake in paying that kind of money for internet. And then when you get on land at these ports of call, I mean, these are developed countries. You're talking the U.S. Virgin Islands, the British Virgin Islands, the Bahamas. These are well-developed countries.
Correct.
But, it was so hard to find internet. And I will say, like, in the U.S. Virgin Islands with my domestic plan, I didn't have to worry about roaming, data charges, and all that. I just use my domestic plan. But let me tell you, when 10,000 people dump out on 3 cruise ships, you're not getting cellular data.
No.
But I had to go around, and I found a place that had you got 15 minutes free Wi-Fi, and I think I was like, let me get on here and check my Facebook and check my email, and I sent you and Bruce a couple pictures.
Yes,
I sent a couple pictures to Mom back home.
I was very jealous.
But one thing I will say, and this is kind of a tech angle too, is on the cruise ship they had this cool little app that you had to download before you went on the cruise. You had to get it before you left, but they had a way you could check what was going on the ship at any time. You could, for an additional fee, you could have messaging capabilities where you could message other passengers on the ship, like text message, but through this app. And also you could call people. You could call other people through their mobile devices through this app, or you could call, numbers on the ship, like a different stateroom, or to make a dining reservation, you call a certain number. I thought that was very cool because it used the Wi-Fi on the ship.
Okay.
It was a flat rate for that.
I'm just trying to seeing over your shoulder there, man.
That's okay.
You're good.
But here's one thing, though.
Yeah.
Anything on my Apple device, and this probably held true for Android, because you get those, here you get those push notifications for different apps and if you have your email configured that way. Every single push notification got delivered to my phone. I didn't pay a dime for it. So I could see what email I was getting. I could see the subject and maybe a first sentence or two, depending on the app.
Yeah,
but
right.
I could see what I was getting. I just couldn't respond. So I was seeing you sent some stuff, and I was getting, for weird thing, I was getting iMessages from like group messages because of how it gets delivered across the internet. But like they had those ports for the Apple messaging open, inbound. So they were being delivered. So I was somewhat connected. I could see what was going on, but I couldn't.
You couldn't respond.
I couldn't respond, which that was fine because when you go on vacation, sometimes, especially when you're a techie like us, sometimes it's good to disconnect.
Oh,
I know some days when
absolutely.
I get off work, the last thing I want to do is get in front of a computer.
Right.
So,
oh yeah.
But I wanted to share that because it was very interesting about how the push notifications still kind of semi work, so you could kind of stay semi connected if you want to call it that. So,
right.
Anyway. Sorry about my little tangent.
No.
Wasted
no.
about 10 minutes. Sorry.
No, it is not. Well, I wanted to read to you. We often get a lot of feedback from Jason, our listener, and he sends some emails out. And
yeah, Jason's one of those little listeners. We appreciate you listening.
Very much, Jason. By the way, we really do. So he's before the break, and actually it was back on March 18th or so, I think it was, and he sent me a little email. He said, "Hi, Michael. I loved how y'all had Daniel on the show." And he's talking about Daniel Mathangani.
Right. Three Guys.
Yeah, from Three Guys. He was a great guest, and he was.
Absolutely.
Had a lot of fun, funny, and interesting things to say. It's funny how he is so used to doing his own show and asking the questions that it almost felt like he was interviewing y'all for a minute there. And there was
absolutely.
Yeah. He said, "I've been listening to him do sports on 92J for years. I heard him say he had graduated. I'm glad he still comes on and does a sports show. I just wanted to say also that I look forward to your show every week, and whether you have a big guest or not, it's always a good show and fun time. I hope you have a lot of other people who listen and feel the same way. It's been a while since Bruce went on a good rant, and it won't be tonight either."
No, not from Bruce. Maybe from one of us, but not from us.
Maybe next week. And so thank you. Let's see. He said maybe next week. Let him go off about his cable or home internet bill or something. Hope you have a great weekend. So I just wanted to tell Jason, I really appreciated it. I actually thought that part of that show was just okay, and I was kind of disappointed in it in a way when I went home. And I got that about the time I'd gotten home, and I really needed it. And so it was much appreciated. And so...
Yeah, I think you sent that to me as well. That
I
message,
may have. I couldn't. Sometimes I can get them out.
See the last Thursday we were on, like I went home, and because of vacation that I already explained, like I had 4 hours of sleep. I had to get up like at the.
Oh yeah,
I got up like at 2:30 in the morning to go to the airport.
Yeah,
so,
it's been a long week for me.
So I don't remember when I saw that. You started reading. It's like I've heard that before.
Yeah,
but anyway, Jason, thank you so much for that feedback, and we are very appreciative of you listening, and I'm glad you're enjoying the show.
Yes.
Because most of the time I feel like I'm just kind of rambling here.
No, we're very blessed to have.
Yes.
So apparently, Guru.
Apparently.
Yes. Apple now is going to provide major league teams with iPads.
I saw that.
iPad Pros.
Of course.
For dugout use. I wanted to ask the 17 guys talking sports about.
Yeah, they had 17 guys in the studio.
They literally did.
Yeah.
Yes, they literally did tonight. 17.
It's kind of like, I think with the NFL, I don't know if it's just 1 year, if that's still going on with that they had the Microsoft Surface devices they were using on the sidelines. So, yeah, each team will receive a 12.9-inch iPad Pro is what I read. So with rugged cases, that's probably a good thing. Some of the managers kind of, they pitch a hissy fit.
You know, that's interesting regarding our discussion 2 weeks ago about the strikes and balls and having cameras and, really getting down to the nitty-gritty of having replay and all those kind of things, because they have some of that. But I think that some of this is what they look like they might be using it for. Not to call a game, but to break down the game.
But, yeah, the MLB, their advanced media division, and if you're looking at this article I'm looking at, through the assistance of Apple, they built an app called MLB Dugout, which will serve as a central destination where managers and coaches can look at their data. And this is the thing, everything is becoming data-driven.
Absolutely.
Everything. If you don't realize it, I've lost my train of thought there.
No.
But everything is data-driven. Everything. Yeah. You get these loyalty cards at the grocery store, and with the card you get buy one get one free, or it's $2.59. We'll get it to you for $2. Here's the thing: They're tracking everything
absolutely.
you're buying.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
And like I know Walmart, they never did the loyalty card, but now they have that thing where you can scan your receipt, and if they find a lower price, they'll give it back to you in a
Correct,
gift card.
that app,
I think it's called Savings Catcher. But anyway, but they're doing the same thing.
Oh yeah, sure they are. Yeah, of course they are.
So, but everything. It's this whole thing with data and data-driven decision making. You know, I deal with that some at work, but you know, it's amazing that something like now getting into sports, because like, you know, Major League Baseball was the big holdout for a long time of instant replay.
Yeah,
you know, they were like, no, we don't want none of that technology. You know, football, they kind of embraced it many years ago with instant replay and the different technology and stuff. And now like MLB is finally kind of like, oh, maybe we need to look at this. Right. But at least it's consistent, because they're kind of regulating this, so it's not like one team has an advantage over the other, because they're kind of saying, no, this is how it's going to be. Yeah, which is a good thing, because you want to try to, you know, not use technology to have an advantage over the other team in terms of I've got this platform and you don't. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to cut to a quick patron break. So we hope that you will take time to listen to our patrons, especially if you're here around this area, and go visit with them. Thank you. We'll be right back. The Hey Techies Show rolls on.
Don't have a kernel panic. Hey Techies will be right back.
Jacksonville Tan is a proud patron of WLJS, serving Jacksonville and surrounding areas since 1987. At their location at 115 Francis Street East, next to Walgreens. Jacksonville Tan knows a thing or two about healthy glow, offering 16 tanning beds and virtually no wait times. A great tan is never out of the question. For more info, call them at 256-435-1770.
Cindy's Photography and Fine Arts is available for all your photography needs. She covers weddings, senior portraits, and much more. Cindy is a proud alumnus of Jacksonville State University and is licensed and insured for over 35 years. Cindy's Photography is located at 1765 Broadwell Mill Road in Jacksonville, Alabama. To book a session or for more information, call 256-435-4752.
Jacksonville Bookstore offers supplies for school all throughout the year. From books to binders, pencils to scantrons, Jacksonville Bookstore has it all. They are open Monday through Saturday with convenient hours and location on 302 Mountain Street Northwest in Jacksonville. To find out more, like them on Facebook or call 256-435-7407. Jacksonville Bookstore, a proud patron of WLJS.
Stress of Jacksonville has been serving the Jacksonville community for over a decade. They are located at 500 Forney Avenue, right next to the cockpit. Strutt serves wings, beer, and more. Their business hours are Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. To place a to-go order, please call 256-782-0106. For more information, go to struttswings.com.
Welcome back to the Hey Techies Show.
And I did not pick this song.
Of course not. This is the Afters.
I know. I like the Afters.
All right. Well, thank you so much again for being in with us. And that number is 256-782-5600. Now, I know there's weather out there, and we're all trying to watch that. And tell us, do we have some tornado warnings and watches?
No. Well, if you're listening in the WLJS listening area, we're under a tornado watch now until 4 a.m., which that means conditions are favorable. I'm looking at the radar app on my phone, and there's some stuff going on in West Alabama. So if you're out and about, you might want to think about trying to get on to the house.
Yeah.
And that's what we'll do. That's what we'll do here in about 40 minutes.
Yes.
So
we will be doing that.
Just stay safe, folks.
Yeah. So Back on the 21st, I know a lot of people say, "Oh, you're going to cover this again."
Of course, we got to cover the Apple stuff.
Yeah, the Apple stuff. There was an event, and and this is not their big event. This is a minor.
See, it was held like at their on the campus.
Correct.
Like
And by the way, he pointed out this is the last time. They're moving to that round campus, the one they've
the
been
spaceship.
Yeah,
campus.
the one.
So this will be the last event at the old campus.
That's what he said.
Oh wow.
Yeah, this is it. So
Apple didn't invite me this time, so I guess I'll get the invitation to the new one when
that's
they have
it. You are. It's in the mail.
Sure.
I guarantee it's in the mail.
If I get one, you'll be the first one I call.
Oh, I know. So actually, you'll call Leo Laporte first, and then you'll call me,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, he's got he don't ever get invited anymore.
Yeah.
To those.
Yeah. So anyway, there was a lot of things, and I am not going to go through the whole thing, but I think the main thing we can take from this, there was some updates to iOS. They just came out with it, and of course you've probably heard some of these people have had problem with this, problem that, and Guru can go through a whole thing where he can tell you about how he thinks, it and he's right, it don't do the before dot updates. Wait till the dot ones, dot twos update.
The dot release.
The dot releases.
Because I was telling somebody at work today at lunch, like, iOS 9.3 came out the other day. Now, don't we putting it in? They're like, well, all right, I just put it in. I was like, well, but they did release a dot release. There's 9.3.1 out today.
There is. But now,
anyway.
What I do want to cover, though, there's some improvements supposed to be for the WatchOS 2.2.
So has that come out yet?
It was available that day.
I hadn't got the update from.
I think it was available. WatchOS.
I'll have to check because
I really thought that was available.
See, I'm just so out of touch with some of this because this all happened while I was
right.
gone,
I know.
so.
Right. Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't get notification of it. I wonder how that works. Is it notify on your phone that you've got that there's?
I think the phone has to ping back to Apple to say there's an update available because it's been nagging me about 9.2 or whatever of iOS, and I've been kind of saying, "No, I'll do it later."
Oh, maybe you have to have that before.
I probably do, and now that 9.3.1 is out, I will go to 9.3.1.
Okay.
So maybe that, and then that'll be the prereq to have the WatchOS.
And they have some more bands if you're interested in that.
Of course, you got to have a band for every day. No,
yes,
I'm just
they
kidding.
have the woven nylon.
Oh,
it's a 4-layer construction, and it's going to come in four flavors.
4 flavors.
Yes, and then they're going to have that new sports band, a new sports band, and some type of metal band. And I don't mean rock band. I'm talking about it's a band for your watch.
Yeah, their bands are overpriced, but they do. I think they license out the connector now, so you can get third party. But still,
they took some time to talk about CareKit. They've done some update to that and some furthering. They're wanting to push this health thing now, and some of the things are interesting. Like one of the apps is for Parkinson's and learning symptoms of Parkinson's and how doctors are using it to detect Parkinson's.
Wow.
And to help find out whether or not. So, for instance, they would find out whether or not how did they word it exactly? I'll get it in here in a second. They find out whether or not that the medicine they're using to treat them is actually working because they'll get feedback. They'll do these little tests and they'll get feedback and they'll see, oh, this person's they're getting good out of this medicine. Others aren't.
It's data-driven decision making.
Yeah,
like we just talked about with the MLB stuff. And you can take this from all different folks, different people.
Yes.
So anyway,
they covered the Apple TV. I think there's an update to the TV OS. It's 9.2. It's going to add some things like Siri search on popular apps. A new feature about
you don't need Siri.
A new feature on folders where there's folders on the home screen. Dictation in apps such as you could put in username and passwords with dictation.
That's very secure too. I'm sorry.
On the Apple TV is what they're referring to.
My password is
just some things like that. There's also you can view your entire photo library and even live photos through the Apple TV now.
Yeah, I need to get a new Apple TV. I had one of the very first ones, and it's come so far, so I'm kind of out of touch, unfortunately.
But of course, the big news, and I really thought this was a ho-hummer personally, but the big news was that they have a smaller phone. It's like the 5S, as far as internal makings is what I've been told. The iFixit broke apart, and it's like the 5S. It's called the SE.
Well, hey, the rumors were true.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing I looked when I got back to some internet. I saw your post on our Facebook page.
Right.
I looked through all the specs and stuff. The notes. And I was like, man, this is all every bit of it nailed it.
It does have the A9 chip. It
Yes.
did have that.
So
And
basically,
it's like the 6S.
If you
aluminum body.
If you need if you want a faster phone, but you don't like the 6 or the 6S, the 6 Plus size, you
Right.
like that 5 size, then
Right.
this is that phone.
But now, see, here's the thing. It's still $399 starting off. If for the 16, they're still stuck on the 16 gig low end.
Yeah, I just we'll see. We'll
And
see
then
what
they've got
do.
the $499, which is you go from 16 to 64 gigs.
But considering for I say top of the line, but it's got the latest hardware in it.
Yeah.
Granted, smaller screen.
Yeah.
That's a good price.
I guess it
because
is. Yeah.
most of the time that flagship best greatest model, you're looking at $600.
I mean, you're going to do like there's the 12 megapixel eyesight camera. It's got the True Tone flash to focus
Yeah,
pixel.
I mean, like I said, if you need a new iPhone, you've got like an iPhone 4 that's still stuck on iOS 7 or 8 because it won't upgrade because it's like, the hardware is very slow considering what's out there now. If you want a new phone, but you don't like the size of the 6, I obviously don't like the size of the 6 Plus. You don't want a phablet. And this is that phone. This is that smaller form factor, and apparently there's a market for it for Apple to actually go in and.
Actually,
what does SE stand for? Small edition?
I don't know.
Or they even,
they didn't even say. If they said it, I missed that. And I guess I was paying attention more to the specky stuff. And
Okay.
I guess the ancillary stuff I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to, and I know I missed some facts. But of course, they also came out with what. They feel. Did you know this? That the Air 2, the iPad Air 2, is supposedly one of their most popular sizes in selling iPads.
Really? Well,
it's the 9.7.
As a matter of fact, I just ordered one of those today.
The iPad Air 2?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
and I looked at all the models that they had available, and I didn't want the Pro. I didn't want the price.
Right.
I didn't need the performance for it.
Right.
Then it was down to the next level, and it was like the Air 2 and the Mini 4.
Mm-hmm.
The Air 2 had the larger screen. They're both same price for the 16 gig. I was like, well, I'm gonna get the bigger screen.
Right.
So that's the one I ordered.
Now, I guess that was really one of the driving forces. They did that to be able to have a lesser cost product.
Yeah.
They built the 9.7 iPad Pro.
It's just a souped up.
It's the same.
So
it's actually a little better in a way than the original. Well, because it has a thing called True Tone display.
True Tone.
Guru, it measures the temp of ambient light and adjusts the display to cooler or warmer. What it's trying to do is if you take, I don't know how many people have ever done this, but if you take a sheet of paper, white sheet of paper, and you go into a room, it looks different under different lighting. A lot of times when they set cameras up, they'll use white so they can get the white
It's like
color
I get
balance.
out socks in the morning, and I think they're black, but when I get out in like fluorescent light, they're actually navy blue. And I'm
but on a white sheet of paper. So what
I know what you're saying.
What they're trying to do is to make this product be like you're looking at a sheet of paper under any conditional light, meaning it shine. And of course, another thing is this, and almost all their products got this update, is they're reducing on the blue light at night.
Yeah.
They got a thing called, let's see, where's it at down here somewhere in my list? What's it called? It's night shift. Night shift reduces the blue light at a certain time. Depending on the time of the day, it takes the blue light down, changes the color temp of the actual device.
That's pretty cool.
So there's a lot. It also it's got four, just like the other one, 4 speakers, and these speakers somehow or another, Guru, can figure out which angle you're listening from and direct the audio there.
Well, it knows by how it's probably tilted or something.
Right.
That's amazing.
But so that's really the gist of what they came out with. I mean, they had some ancillary stuff, but that's really the big news from Apple as far as that.
Well, one thing that kind of was not in the rumor mill was they dropped the price of the watches.
Yes, they
by
did.
$50.
That's right.
So your 37 millimeter is now $299.
Yes, that's correct. Just
and the larger one, the 42 is now $349.
Which we had a somebody, I don't know. Did you know that person that tweeted us? I don't know.
Yes, I know who he is.
Okay. He was.
Maybe he'll call in.
He's waiting to decide whether or not to buy one or not because of the fact that he thinks they might have a newer watch coming out because of dropping the price. There's a possibility of that.
See, I debated that with a friend when I read about that, and I was like, I'm thinking we're going to see a new watch hardware probably later this year. I figure with their bigger fall event in time for the holiday season. I think they just realized that they were priced a little too high, and they've probably recouped some of that R&D cost by now. So they're kind of like, well, let's bring the price down a little bit. Because if you remember, like the original iPhone, it was like super expensive, and then like they dropped it a good bit a couple of months after it came out. And I think the Apple Watch has been out, maybe 8 months now, give or take.
At least.
It was this time last year when it got announced, but it was maybe June or so when it got.
Of course, rumored for a long time.
Oh yeah, it's been rumored for a long time, but I think this is just the normal course. They need to try to adjust themselves in terms of price. With I don't know. I wish Bruce was here tonight because the Android Wear watches, how much they. There's some that I know are very inexpensive, but what would you consider like a
$200, $250?
Kind of a top of the line.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
a little more. You can even get it for a little more.
Oh, you can?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
I mean, it's still a little pricey, but here's the thing: if you want a smartwatch and you have an iPhone, you're gonna have to.
It's gonna be a no-brainer
because the Android Wear does work with iOS, but not great. From what I understand.
If I was an iPhone user, it would not even be a question. I mean, I wouldn't even question wanting to do that. I would have an Apple Watch.
That's right.
If I was going to get it. Yeah. Some rumors. You are listening to the Hey Techies Show.
So let's start a rumor.
Yeah, Bruce is not coming back.
I know. Yeah.
That's the rumor. He's exited the show, and he's never coming back. He's retired already.
Retired.
Yes.
We miss you, Bruce.
He actually got the job, and he's shooting off to space. He's an astronaut.
There you go. You heard it here first, folks.
You heard it here. Got called, and he's an astronaut.
All right, let's move on to another rumor since we already started one. Apple may launch a 5.8-inch OLED iPhone with curved glass casing and screen in 2017.
I don't believe it.
Well, the 5.8, that's the size of the SE. And I wonder if maybe the iPhone 7 will have some similar characteristics, and this is the small version of that, maybe?
I just don't see them do the curved glass. I'm sorry.
That's out there, but you got to. This is the first time. We'll have to just wait and see if it starts cropping up more as time goes on.
Now, I will say this. I was taken back by a lot of people that they did a actual stylist. So I will say the pencil thing. So there is that's different. That they never had before. No. So you never know. But now here's the thing. They hate Samsung. Matter of fact, this week they were in last week they were in a Supreme Court case with Samsung.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I missed that.
Obviously we don't know what the outcome is. I think we won't know until like June, I think, when the rulings come down. June or July.
Right.
And anyway.
They're bitter enemies both. In the marketplace and in the courtroom.
But if I'm not mistaken, Samsung is the one that does the curved screens on their phones.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
So my question is, why would they do this? I mean, I guess I look at it this way. If you're getting a phone only for the curved screen, I mean, what feature are you really getting? I've
I
never
don't.
used
I will
one,
say
but
this: I will not. I don't buy a phone because of a curved screen.
Yeah, I don't think, and that's why I'm saying they're in the market for selling phones, and unless they're getting a lot of people that they see are going over to that market for that reason, I'm not saying they don't.
They
but
brought back a smaller phone. You never know.
I know, but that makes more sense to me because I kind of thought it was a mistake to get rid of their smaller phone anyway because there's people that just don't like big phones.
Right.
I didn't think that was a good idea.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, this is the first I've seen of any of this in the rumor mill, so we'll just see because I think you're going to see a new – it's going to be late this year, early 2017 before any new phones come out.
So what
from
about
Apple.
the iPhone 7 alleged battery?
I know.
images?
Like, this battery image apparently is alleged this is the battery they're going to use in the iPhone 7, which I think is rumored for like 7.04 watt hours compared to the 6S of 6.61 watt hours, which is a whopping 0.43, if my math is correct, on the fly there. So I think this is typical evolution with Apple products.
Sure.
They try to keep packing more and more battery life, but at the same time, they're getting faster and faster chips, which consume more and more energy. So it's kind of they're trying to keep on pushing that envelope of battery life.
Right, and that was my next thing is the question, really the thought process I had there. It's going to, I don't know if you're going to get any bump. Of course, they have said that they have done even some more through many of the updates recently. They've done some better battery life. They've created some products that have better battery life.
Right.
As far as the iOS one of the latest, I think that it's much better. And two, like you said, Guru, the higher the chip, they're going to have these bigger battery designs.
Yes.
So that they can have better battery life. Otherwise, it's going to be in the toilet if they don't increase it.
Yeah, because they want to keep them putting faster chips out. You know, like it's
Sure.
rumored to have this A10 chip, which will have better performance than the previous generation, but there's a cost, and that cost is energy, because these are mobile devices and they're getting more and more power hungry. So they got to figure out either we make it more efficient in terms of the operating system, or we pack a more higher capacity battery.
I have a hopeful rumor.
What's that?
My hopeful rumor is the White Plains robotics team wins.
Yes.
Out in
Yes.
nationals. So there's my hopeful rumor.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's our rumors.
Yeah, not a whole lot this week because since the Apple event, there's not a whole lot coming from that, and most of our rumors are Apple rumors.
But now, that would be a good transition to this.
Sure.
As we said, Build 2016 is happening right now.
Right.
And
for those who don't know, can you please enlighten the audience?
Well, Build 2016 is really Microsoft's way of getting their product out, number one, their latest whatever. And
but
also,
it's geared to the developers,
It
correct?
is. I know. It's geared to developers, and I've never been. So to be able to say that I know much about it, it would be a
now,
joke.
Microsoft, if you want us to go and cover it,
right.
we will be glad to.
Because I know nobody covers it, right?
That is Guru at HeyTechiesShow.com, Michael at HeyTechiesShow.com.
That's right, because we would cover it like nobody's business.
You know it.
You have
oh, my
no
goodness.
idea. Yes, absolutely. But seriously, though, so a lot of things came out so far, and I think it's got a few more days, if I'm not mistaken. But one of the big things, and one of people have been waiting and wooing and waiting and wooing, and if you had $3,500 or $3,000, whatever it cost, you could have went and got these. But the developer kit shipped for HoloLens.
Yeah, we were talking about that this morning.
Now, what you may not know about HoloLens, I think is very important. You say $3,000. Yeah, it is up there.
Well, that's nothing for the Hey Techies credit card,
no,
right?
But one thing you do need to know about that is different with other products, this is a self-contained. It is the only self-contained glasses right now where all the processing, everything, you don't have to have a computer hooked to this. The entire thing is...
So you just put it on and...
That's correct. Yes. That's really why it's like a miniaturized mobile device that runs a 3D environment, really. I mean, you could look at it that way.
Yeah, it's different than like the VR stuff where you put these goggles over your eyes and it's like you're immersed by basically a screen the size of a smartphone.
That's correct.
This is like it puts images in the environment you're sitting in.
It's virtual reality, okay? Because it does that, but it also does augmented reality. Because augmented reality is you still see reality, but you have things that show up.
So we could put Bruce right there in that
correct.
seat.
We could put Bruce over there in that chair.
Even from space.
Even from space.
Okay.
Which may have to come in handy one day.
It may.
That's my understanding of augmented reality.
Yes.
That was one of the big news. Of course, the big news, the other big news is that coming up sometime in the summer, you remember the Windows 10, it's going to be released in the summer, blah, 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 Well, they have an anniversary edition. And in the anniversary edition, there has been a lot of new things that are supposed to be really advancements. And one of the things that is going to be advancement is that they're building in the ability to run Ubuntu.
Oh.
It's like an image, and it's also built in that you can run a bash, which is a basically like
DOS prompt.
DOS prompt. Yeah, you could say that, but it's Linux version of it's a programming that runs in terminal, and it's kind of a little bit too much techie talk, but the truth of the matter is that this is actually big for Microsoft in a lot of ways. Because too many windows here.
Yeah, I know.
They're looking through. One big thing is, and I was talking to somebody else today, Microsoft today was talking about their development side, their app development side, and they got a product that they call a Visual Studio.
Right. I've heard of it.
Right. Well, Visual Studio, a lot of it is going open source.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
They're doing a lot of stuff where they're doing open source. The .NET framework, a lot of it has been going open source. And they're allowing them to port all these apps to Microsoft, the Windows 10, Android, and iOS right from the build of that. Test them all on the different devices.
Right.
Virtually. They have a cloud system that they talked about today where you could virtually test your product on multiple devices, all kinds of different devices, phones, tablets, and you could see how they would work. Real time. Change something and be real time.
Yeah, and this is good. I'm glad they're opening up this because that's been the problem with Microsoft. It's all been closed source, and there's products that I have to support in my day job where it only works with Windows, only works with Internet Explorer, and that can be a pain point for a lot of people. What I'm saying though is, you talk about you can test on these different devices. Well, there's like with the I remember back in the infancy of us working on mobile apps here at JSU, we were using a platform, the app platform that we kind of bought into, which was kind of with our vendor of our ERP. That's kind of very technical. I apologize, but anyway, it used a similar thing where it had one base of code and you could compile it out for iOS and for Android and for even BlackBerry.
Yeah.
But it didn't last long.
Right.
Because it was very painful, and I hope Microsoft gets this right because I don't want to see it fall like the others because right now to be a mobile app developer or to be an app developer period, you got Apple in its own little world with Xcode, and they use Objective-C and they have Swift now, and you kind of have to play nice with their tools because you're not going to get it on Apple devices without going through that. Excuse me. Now, on Android devices, which are very, very popular, there's more Android devices than iOS devices.
Worldwide.
Yeah, worldwide there's more Android devices than iOS devices.
Yeah.
But all those are built based on Java.
Right.
Again, another set of code.
Right.
Windows, they're doing the Visual Studio and all that, another set of code.
Right.
Whether you're doing Windows Phone or a Surface or Windows 10 or whatever. And that's the problem. It's such a pain point, and that's the problem why you don't see a lot of – there's certain apps that don't exist on Windows phones, for example, because you're talking 2% market share. And these companies, there's not enough money and not enough demand for them to devote resources to do that.
And not only that, this was a point I was talking to my friend about today. I said, in an Apple – this event that Apple had earlier is not the same thing as their developers conference. It's a little bit different, handled a little bit different. But most of the time at an Apple event, you don't hear anybody else's name. You don't hear Microsoft except if they're making a joke about Microsoft. You don't hear Android hardly at all, and the only time you would hear Android if they're making a joke about Android.
That's true.
But at Microsoft's, they talked openly about iOS, about Android, about Linux,
Yeah.
all these other
Right.
platforms that they want you to be able to migrate and be able to work from
Here-
one platform.
Here's my hope. I'll say a hope for Microsoft, because Microsoft needs to survive.
Yes,
because if
absolutely.
a PC world, a computing world, a technology world without Microsoft, I don't like it. And this is coming from an Apple fan, an
Yeah,
Apple
I
juicer.
know.
I think they play a very important role. Here's the thing. I think they're being very open about supporting different platforms, because their hope is to shift more to services.
Yeah, oh yeah, no question
In the
about
cloud,
that. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
we're going to help you, and we'll you need somewhere to host your servers and do this. Well, you can come to Azure or whatever we're going to call it, and that's where everything's shifting to software as a service.
Yes,
and Microsoft,
absolutely.
I think they finally, the light bulb went off, so we got to go there, and they're kind of going full tilt.
Maybe.
That's my thinking here.
Well, I think the one thing is they're going to have to figure out what they want to do with phones. They're going
Yeah.
to. I just don't. They're just too.
I'm-
I know we've talked about this before. We beat it into the ground, but they're just too late on it. I mean,
They were late. You're right.
I don't know how they recover from that.
They may not be able to. They may have to just kind of give up, and let's see what
Now-
what are we good at.
Now, I'll tell you this. I think that they can, if they will stick to this tablet thing, I really think they can make a market for that for sure. I think
Absolutely.
they have a product in what they have now. If they would just continue to
Yes.
develop, like iPad, it could have been a flop. It wasn't, obviously, but they have continued to develop that and make better products.
And I will give Microsoft credit now with Windows 10 and a Microsoft Surface, whether it's Surface Pro or ProBook or the small Surface, the inexpensive one. It's full Windows.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because there's sometimes I want a full desktop operating system. It's a small screen. It's like a 10-inch screen, I think.
Right.
And our church has one of these that we bought for the technical side when we're doing stuff, and it comes in so handy.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
got a purpose.
Yeah,
Now,
I
granted,
agree.
I wouldn't want to use it as a day-to-day, but,
Well, we're going to go to break, and we'll be right back. The Hey Techies Show rolls along.
If you missed it live, then catch the Hey Techies Rewind, Sundays at noon.
Red Threads Apparel carries a wide selection of t-shirt designs for every school function, work party, and much more. They also offer custom layouts for monogrammed attire. Red Threads Apparel is located at 16 Square Unit 8 in downtown Jacksonville on the square. Their business hours are Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. For more information on Red Threads powered by O Brand, visit their Facebook page at O Brand Marketing or call 256-770-9880.
Looking to cure that sweet tooth of yours? Mad Hatter Cupcake Shop is now proudly serving the Jacksonville area at their new location at 16 Public Square on the square. Mad Hatter is open Tuesday through Saturday from 11 to 9 p.m. and they are closed on Sunday and Monday. For additional information, be sure to check out their Facebook page, www.facebook.com/Mad Hat Cupcakes, and their website, www.madhatcakes.com.
Gamecock Outfitters, located on the square at 109 Ladiga Street in Jacksonville, provides customers with outdoor apparel and gear. Gamecock Outfitters is able to help you find exactly what you need for every outdoor adventure. Gamecock Outfitters is open Tuesday through Friday from 10 o'clock to 5:30 and Saturday from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock. For additional information, contact them at 256-435-2008 or check out their website at GadsdenOutfitters.com.
This is 91.9 FM, WLJS Jacksonville, your cure for common radio.
Welcome back to the Hey Techies Show.
And it's not the $25,000 pyramid.
Oh, really, Guru?
Yeah.
I just can't believe it.
Sorry.
Guru decided he would. We're trying to put TV themes.
That's right.
In our final thing. So we got a call For our good friend Micah from Maine.
Hey, Micah.
How you guys doing? I've been listening all night long and love the show. I missed you guys last week, and I'm sorry Bruce isn't there because I'm due for a rant and I'm having withdrawals from not having a Bruce rant for a while now.
We'll have to get you one next week.
Yeah. Well,
I hope so.
I tell you what, I want to ask you. I want you to tell us about what you called for, but I hope you will just bear with us just a moment, if you don't mind.
Of course.
I appreciate that. Guru is going to tell us about This Week in Tech History, and maybe you can be a part of This Week in Tech History today.
Well,
so
let's say since Bruce is not here, we'll let Micah be he can try to guess, because Micah does not know either what we're going to talk about. Bruce did guess earlier and missed it, but anyway. So I'll give you the date, Micah, and you can see if you can guess what tech event this was. March 26th of 1999.
Let me see. March 26th of 1999. That was, what, 20 years? How long ago was that?
A long time ago.
17 years ago? Let me see.
That was my,
17 years ago on March 26th. My niece was 3 years old. That's what it was. It was her third birthday. That's got to be it.
Yes, I'm sorry. Close, but not quite. No, what it was is the first email virus to cause widespread damage, the Melissa virus, was released into the wild on March 26th of 1999.
Well, that's interesting because, my niece is not named Melissa. That's all right.
That's pretty good. It affected like between 100,000 and 250,000 computers.
It was quite something.
Of course, in 1999, that was a big deal.
It was probably like 90%. I don't know.
I
threw a number out there.
90%. Well, Micah, what did you call us about?
Well, you were talking about Microsoft and their phones. And,
yes.
And they really got to pull that together. And I think they have a plan. And that I think is going to work, and part of it is that they're trying to take over the world with Windows 10.
Yeah,
of course.
You can't get away from it, and in fact I had 2 people this week ask me. I keep getting these messages: should I upgrade? Should I upgrade? Should I upgrade? And they were both on Windows 7, and I said no. I said because Windows 7 is going to be supported until 2020. Your computer's going to die before then, and you're going to have to replace it. Why go through the problem of updating?
That is a good point.
Yes,
that's a very good point. Or you're going to want to replace the computer anyway by that time, probably.
Right, so why wait anyway? But with Windows 10, what Microsoft has done, and I just read about this someplace yesterday again, and we've talked about it a little bit before, is that they're designing apps for Windows 10 that will operate perfectly well on Windows 10 on the desktop, on the Surface Pro on their tablet, and also eventually on the Windows Phone. And I think what will happen is once they have enough apps out there, that's when they'll come out with a phone, so the apps will already exist as opposed to having to create an app store, because they're all supposed to work together, and when apps are designed for Windows 10, they need to be designed to work for it all. Very similar in such ways to iOS, because if the app works on the phone, then there's an app as well, I believe, for Macintosh. And Chromebooks, almost the same thing. And I think Microsoft is coming into it, and being the most, Windows 10 being the most downloaded and I think the widest used desktop operating system, I think that perhaps that's just a guess, but I think that makes sense, and that's how they would bring a phone in.
Well, I think you may be onto something there, because if they can just do that, they can have just the one OS on all devices, and then it's a matter of just licensing that OS to anybody who will put it on a device. So it kind of gets them out of the hardware business in terms of phones.
Exactly, and already I believe that with Windows 10, that if the screen size is less than 7 inches or 9 inches, that the OS is free.
Yes, you are correct.
Yeah, so that kind of works it out that way, and they don't have to worry about app developers, because the app developers were already designing the app for Windows 10.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to people designing websites now. You want to make them what's called responsive, to where they'll look good on any size screen. So it's the same kind of, you've got to kind of, they want you to design it for Windows 10, so it's, I guess, responsive, I guess, in a way. So you've got a good theory there, Mike, and we'll see, as they say, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, again, just a theory and just a thought, but I think it fits into the discussion and the question that you brought up.
Absolutely,
so
absolutely. Well, we appreciate it, Micah, because hey, we appreciate the conversation.
You guys have go ahead.
The only thing I see though, Micah, and I see your point, but I was going to let Guru finish up there, but The only problem, well, I don't know if it's a problem, but I do think it could be a blockade, if you will. They've tried a phone. It's not that they haven't tried a phone. It's that they're diving into a market that the pool is so big that the ocean doesn't explain it. And the market is so saturated with starfish. They're like a clam, and the market is saturated with starfish in this ocean, and they're oddball. They're the oddball out. I mean, even Apple, they're the most sold single phone. I'm not talking about Android. Android's got the biggest number
in terms of manufacturer.
OS, but a manufacturer,
right.
they own the world on a single phone manufacturer, because you can only go get the iPhone from Apple.
Correct.
Nobody else sells it. You understand? Now, I'm not saying I'm right, but my only concern is that once again. I think I brought this up already. I'm repeating myself. Once again, I think they're too late to this ball game. I'm afraid they're just too late.
Well, I think you said they're small fries in this market, and they are late. I agree with you there. But what Mike is saying in terms of it works, the OS will work on any device.
I understand that.
They're not having to devote resources to write just a phone OS.
Yeah,
it's from a business decision. Like, if we can make our OS work on any device,
correct,
then we're good.
But Android does that.
That's true. But I mean,
but if you write an OS if you want the OS to work on the desktop, then you're writing the OS for the desktop, and then it automatically works on the phone. Whereas right now, if you want an OS for the desktop, you got to write that. Plus, you got to write one for iOS, and you have to write one for Android.
I like your idea. And I don't really disagree with it, by the way. My point is that can Windows get out of their own way? And that's been their problem for many years. Can they get out of their own way? And I just don't know. Look, I hope that they get a phone that people just go flocking to. We need the competition. We've got okay competition right now with all the different manufacturers on the side of Android, but and still there's still a lot of competition there, certainly between that and Apple. But another one, we had BlackBerry, of course. They didn't change with the market. That was a lot of their problem, is that they wanted to be, they thought everybody was going to continue to be on BlackBerry. They're BlackBerry. Why would anyone ever drop a BlackBerry?
Well, Microsoft has changed some already when you think about it, because what they're saying now is that Windows 10 is the last operating system you'll ever buy. We're just going to keep updating it, just like what happens with iOS for the Mac.
Right.
So, in some ways, it might work. And last time when they came out with a phone, Leo Laporte had said, it's a great phone. There's just no apps for it.
Right.
This time if they come out with a phone, it's already there.
But I still think they have some of that still. They're still behind. Look, okay, for instance, let me put it in this perspective. They told, it was back in the Apple event, did you know that there are 5,000 apps for the Apple TV?
Wow.
5,000 apps for the Apple TV.
And you're talking less than a year it's been available.
So
tvOS, I'm saying.
Yeah, the tvOS. So I don't know.
Apple's got this huge lead. They got this huge market share, so that's kind of par for the course for them.
I know, and I'm really trying to just more like contrast them than really compare them per se.
It goes back to they've got to the change management, the culture in that organization, and I hope they get through it. That's all I gotta say.
And again, if you're comparing it with Apple TV, there's Apple TV that competes tremendously with the Google Chrome. What am I looking for?
Roku is one of them.
Well, and I was going to say.
Yeah. The Chromecast, yes, sir.
The Chromecast
Absolutely.
is Apple TV, and those are two big competitions. But really, what's the biggest of the two? Roku.
Yeah, that is true.
So there's a third.
Well, and one reason why that is because most of the people have been able to do whatever they want to with a Roku. I mean, it's sort of open and it came on early on.
It was early on. Plus the price point is very.
The price point.
They have different models, but you can get into an entry level device for like $40.
Right.
Yeah, I've got 2 of them in the house, and with the Roku, I can get rid of my cable box. Although let's save that for Bruce.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Well, you may very be right, and like I said, I hope there is a hardware war on phones. I mean, there has been some, but
competition is good for business.
Oh, absolutely. Right. I'm totally for that. Well,
it's just another point. I don't, it may or may not go, but you were talking about it, and I just wanted to offer another perspective to look at it. That's all.
No. I'm not against you. I appreciate it so much. I mean, I appreciate your perspective.
We appreciate
that. I appreciate you calling us all the way from Maine. I mean, you could do a lot of things, but you're calling us all the way from Maine. So.
Well, it's one of my 2 favorite tech shows on the air.
That's very kind. Oh, my goodness. So what do we have to send you next week? That's very kind.
Just send me the Hey Techies credit card and everything will be fine.
Right, sure.
You work on that, Michael. That's on you.
Hey,
All
Micah,
right.
take care, okay?
Have a great night. Thanks for a great show.
You too. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Yep. Well.
These 2 hours have flown.
Yeah,
by.
I know, and I knew they would, but that's good. We've had a great show.
And no overclock stuff.
What was
tonight.
your pick?
My pick. I've got a video. It's a video I took on my cruise sailing away from one of our ports of call, Tortola, which is the capital of the British Virgin Islands. I'll put the link in the show notes because it's I'm very proud of how that video turned out. Plus, one of my favorite songs is the music. But anyway.
And don't forget, you can go out to HeyTechiesShow.com and see all of the show.
We have show notes for most shows. You got the Facebook link, Twitter, YouTube.
And you can call in like Micah. We'll be
Absolutely.
on next week. And hopefully Bruce will be back in town. Back in studio. So we thank you so much. Thank you from all of us, and me and the Guru, and thank you for sharing our night with us. We hope you have a fabulous night and a safe and a happy weekend. See you next week.
The Hey Techies Show is produced by Mike Stedham and co-produced by The Guru. Station manager is Billy Dunn. Join us again next time for another exciting installment of The Hey Techies Show. It's gonna be great, maybe.